I'm going to start with some of the questions on this section, and I'm just looking at the data from the last quarter in TfL, which is from September 2018 through to December 2018. There were over 1,098 injuries related to buses, so quite a high figure. And of that, 10% of those related in serious injury, killed or seriously injured, and there were 4 fatalities in that period. So a very small window, but 4 fatalities. So there are still a number of deaths on our roads. And in that quarter, 32% of all bus-related killed or seriously injured were vulnerable road users. What more do we think needs to be done to actually improve bus safety in relation to that key group? I'll start with Claire.
Okay. So I think it's fair to say that it's absolutely unacceptable that people can't go about their business using the bus network or walking around and cycling on London's roads with fear of being hurt. So clearly the numbers that we talk about are quite stubborn in terms of where we are, with fatalities for sure. In terms of serious injuries, that's too high, that number. We launched the bus safety programme in 2016. And there are very many work streams within that programme. So it started off with sort of 6 key areas. And as time has gone on, because the programme develops as we learn more and more about the issues, we now have around 10 work streams. One of the key issues we have in terms of on-board injuries is how we can prevent people being harmed on board a bus. When a bus driver, we talked earlier about the skill of a tram driver, in terms of the skill of a bus driver driving around London's roads, the amount of congestion and various contradictions and issues they have to face every day is very challenging. So we need to find a way to ensure that people travelling on board our buses, which is what the majority of those numbers come from, can be protected, because very similarly, if we have somebody stepping out in front of a bus or a potential collision incident, the driver has to react to that, and often many of these injuries are as a result of the driver braking to avoid an incident and people falling on the vehicle. So we're looking at the interior design of the vehicle as part of our bus safety standard. We're also looking at what we can do to enhance customer behaviour on bus and make sure people are travelling safely. So you may be aware that we did actually trial an announcement last year, which didn't necessarily go down very well. It was my sort of claim to fame in terms of how that went. But we did another trial more recently in Bromley and Bexley, which is an area where we have lots of certainly higher number of on-board slips, trips and falls, where we actually targeted announcements to sort of every 10 to 12 minutes, which were a bit more sort of nuanced in terms of asking people to be careful when they're moving around the vehicle, which was received very positively by the community. So we need to keep working in that area in terms of on-bus incidents. In terms of the broader issue of the stubbornly high numbers of fatalities on the network, we launched in October 2018, as I think many people came to, or certainly invited, the bus safety standard, which is the new design of a London bus essentially. So in terms of how we eradicate fatalities, we know through Vision Zero that people will make mistakes and humans make errors all over, and it's about how we make the environment more forgiving for those. So the bus safety standard looks at the actual physical design of the vehicle. It also looks at various countermeasures that can be put on in terms of technology to assist the driver. So for example, advanced emergency braking or automated emergency braking is something that we have got in the plan for the future for buses. So if there is a object in front of the vehicle or a person that comes out in front of the vehicle will stop. Now, it's quite a difficult technology to put onto a big London bus where you've got people standing at the side of the road waiting to board a bus. It needs to be able to work out, when it needs to stop. So that technology is still in production and development at the moment. But technology like that, things like the front of the design of the front of the vehicle, so that if somebody was hit by a vehicle, they would be deflected, is another way that we hope to reduce the amount of serious harm to people should they be struck by a vehicle. We're looking at devices for drivers, so if they by mistake put their foot on the wrong pedal, which can happen and has happened, there'll be an indicator light on the cab dashboard that will advise them that they've put their foot on the wrong pedal. So various different things we're looking at to see what we can do to make the challenging role of a driver easier and protect our vulnerable road users, which is our biggest challenge, really.
Is there anything you wanted to add on that?